Hey guys, I hope you're well. I wanted to talk to you about troubleshooting that smoking hot audio output tube and let you know what I found out. I know how vacuum tubes operate, and I can work my way around a vacuum tube circuit in when troubleshooting, but what I don't have is the everyday practical hands-on experience. When I make a movie, Scout comes up and he's wanting some love. Hi, Scout. Daddy's making a movie. I gotta make a movie. I might have to pause you. Hang on, guys. Okay, guys. I'm going to try to explain this very simply. And even if you don't know very much about electronics, just follow along. I think you'll get the drift of what's going on here. Where do I start? This is a cathode. This is a grid. This is the plate. And seriously, all you need to know about vacuum tubes is you apply a high DC voltage to the plate in reference to the cathode, and no current will flow from cathode to plate until you make the grid slightly positive. When you make the grid slightly positive, a whole torrent of current will flow through that tube. And if you flow too much current through it, it'll get hot. And that's what was happening. So I checked the voltages on this stage. And first thing I noticed was they call for negative 0.6. It was only negative 0.1. So it was not being biased off as hard. Not being biased off as hard means it was slightly turned on, possibly. And so that grabbed my attention. Okay. But the thing is, I only measured 4 volts here on the cathode, 0.4 volts, which is normal. And the plate voltage is normal. So even though this was slightly more positive than they specify, the cathode voltage was normal, so therefore the plate current was normal. By the way, if you want to figure what the plate current is, the current through that tube, it's very simple. I equals E over R, divide 0.4 by 470, that'll give you the current through that tube. You want to know how much power it's dissipating, how much heat? Fine, figure that and multiply that current by this voltage. And I did that for this tube, and there's very, very little power being dissipated by it. Okay, now then, that's the preamp stage. Okay, I'm gonna, you can see where it gets its signal from. This is a product detector, and this preamp's just picking the signal off from the plate. That's where generally you'll pick the signal off of a tube, at the plate. Okay, and you have to use a series capacitor to block that voltage. Okay, and I'll show you. The signal, oh, I can't scroll you up high enough. Oh no, the signal comes up here. This is the volume control up here. And it comes back after going through the volume control, okay? And the signal's applied to that grid for amplification, all right? This is the power amp. I checked all the voltages. All were reasonably close to what they suggest, except for this one. The grid is 0.6 volts. That got my attention. 0.6 volts, huh? Positive 0.6 volts. At some point, you're going to start turning that tube on and flowing current through it at all times. I divided this voltage by this resistor to see how much current was flowing through it. Then I multiplied that current by this plate voltage, 270 volts, and I measured 302. you do the multiplication and you'll find out that that tube's dissipating 4.5 watts. And that's with it running normally. It dissipates 4.5 watts just sitting there doing nothing. And it gets quite warm, gets quite hot. But everything was seemingly normal here. And I couldn't figure it out until I eventually left my voltmeter connected to this grid, and I left it on for a while. See, I was only testing it for a minute at a time, just long enough for the tubes to get warm enough to conduct, to start functioning. I'd test my voltages and shut it off. Well, eventually I left it running with my voltmeter connected right here to this grid. And initially I measured negative 0.1. Remember, guys, you start making that grid positive, you're going to start flowing an ass load of current through that tube. After about 2 minutes, this voltage started climbing. It went above 0 to 2 volts, 3 volts, and upward. I saw it hit 6 or 7 volts, and this tube was smoking hot. It was turned fully on, and it was roasting, man. And I started wondering, what the hell? What the hell? Why is this thing taking off and going positive? I wondered, is one of these capacitors, after a couple minutes, shorting? But I figured, no, it can't be. There's 2 in series. There's 2 caps in series to block the 70 volts, And I figured, no, it can't be those capacitors. But the experienced technician in me knows it could be those capacitors. But I doubted it, not when there's 2 in series. It wasn't the capacitors. Why this voltage was taking off like it was? It wasn't anything wrong here. You know what was wrong? The tube, I don't know if it's gassy or what, but after it gets good and warm, after it's been on for a few minutes, this grid starts leaking current and going positive. It starts developing a grid leak. I think that's what's happening. And an old timer or somebody with more experience, this is where your real world experience comes into play. If I would have told that to an old timer, yeah, the tube's running fine, but man, after 2-3 minutes, the grid starts going wildly positive, and the tube conducts and roasts. Yeah, it's because you got a goddamn grid leak. Replace the tube. So that's troubleshooting a smoking hot audio output amplifier stage. Okay? I think that's all I wanted to say. The audio amplifier works a treat now. And as a matter of fact, I hate to spoil things, but the transceiver works a treat too. But I can't say more about that until later. Okay, I've recorded these segments in reverse order. Now I want to tell you something about my dim bulb tester. I'm sorry if I sound weird or whatever. It's 1 o'clock in the morning, man. I can't sleep. And as soon as I get done with this video, recording these 2 segments, I'm going to go make a cup of hot coffee, sit down in my favorite chair, and edit this thing. Might stay up all night. I hope you're well. I'll talk to you later. Bye, guys. Hey, guys. I wanted to make note of something with my dim bulb tester. When I was working on this radio, a couple times I said it's got a direct short. And I don't know why I said that. I was nervous. The fact is, with this dim bulb tester, it's easy to tell when something's a direct short. See that power cord plugged in there? I think we can agree it's a direct short. The wires are twisted together. You know, with a direct short at that outlet, it's the same as closing a switch, a light switch in your house. How much current will flow? 0.36 amps. If you select that bulb, 0.61 amps if you select that bulb. If you select both bulbs, add them together, 0.97 amps, as read on the ammeter. That's the maximum current that can flow. If I've got this bulb selected and I see on that meter down there that I'm flowing 0.36 amps, you know what that tells us? It's a direct short. The device under test is a direct short. You want to see? Direct short. Dare we? We just can't put it in bypass mode. If we do that, we blow the fuse. Oh, I'm sorry. Turn the variac on. Oh, 0.36 amps. Oh, it's so bright. You can't even tell. Hang on. What a drag. I had to cover the light bulb. You can see 0.36 amps, right? Select the other load. What was it? 0.61? Yup. Select them both. There you go. If you see those currents as written on the light bulbs on that meter, you've got a direct short. Hey guys, I hope you're well. I figured I'd make a quick movie about how I go about verifying the operation of the VFO and the heterodyne oscillator in this rig. Now, let me show you something. Let's spin around. When I restore a piece of equipment, I keep a log of everything I do. To make it handy, I jotted down the frequency of the different oscillators and the associated tube. So once I did that, classy video, huh? Don't ever do this at your workbench. Don't do what I do. I wrote it down on this paper, so I didn't have to have my computer over here. And I wanted to show you how I go about verifying the operation with an external receiver. Okay, right now, I've already checked the local oscillator, the VFO. It's a little high in frequency. It's running 22 kilohertz-ish high. And that's fine. We'll be going through the calibration procedure. Right now I'm checking the heterodyne oscillator, okay? And you see it it changes depending on the band. The frequency changes. It has a crystal for each of those. In theory, if it works on one, it should work on each of those frequencies, depending on the setting of the band switch. But right now I've got it set to 80 meter band, and it should be operating at 9.045 megahertz. I've got my rig set to 9.046. And the oscillator is working. You can see it on the band scope. You can see we're right on the edge of the signal. If I set it to 9.045, it's a dead beat. It dead beats. It zero beats. So that signal's dead nuts on, that crystal. And it's possible that it could be off on one band, but not the others, because crystals sometimes age non-gently. How did I detect the signal? Easy. See that green alligator lead? That tube you see in the middle of the screen, that's the oscillator tube. That's V6. That's V3. I just laid that clip lead around it. Connected the clip lead to coax running to the rig, and set to 9.046. You should get a 1 kilohertz tone. We do. Nice strong signal. So that's how I do that. You could use a frequency counter. I don't know if these old vintage ones are good enough. I'm going to try. I'm going to hook it up and see. I have to refer to the schematic and see what would be a good place to pick off a signal. Maybe the plate of that tube through a small coupling capacitor, 10 picofarads or something. But I'll verify. I verified the local oscillator. I verified this heterodyne oscillator frequency. I'll check the other two at 12 and 26 megahertz. Then I'll check the BFO at 3396.4 kilohertz. And boy, it might be for nothing. I thought this rig is dead. But man, I turned up the RF gain control, turned up the audio, the volume all the way. I hear static. What else do I hear? A gentle hiss. A gentle hiss. It might be receiving. I've never hooked an antenna up to this thing. Maybe I should. Maybe I will. Might be working fine and just need an alignment. We'll see. I'll bring you back when I figure something out. Bye, guys. Oh, okay then, guys. I did a bit more poking around. I found four different resistance checks in the manual, and I checked them, and they were fine. My manual copy is poor. It's it's a PDF, very poor. I was getting ready to do a voltage check, but I figured I'd better see if I had any tubes in another receiver that I could test this thing with. And yeah, my other Heathkit receiver, the HR10B, it had two type 6EA8 tubes in it, and so does this. So I grabbed them. And sure enough, this HW-16, the only thing wrong with it, the only reason it wasn't receiving after the work I did, was a bad vacuum tube. Now, my Michigan Cacti doesn't have 40 meters, and that's where we're at right now. This thing only has 80, 40, and 15. Although I saw a mod published so that you can put that on 20 instead of 15. That'd be a fun mod to do. But yeah. Works a treat. I don't know if you can hear that. Here you go. Watch this. Watch this. Oh, it's not as loud as I thought. Anyway, seems to be working fine. At this point, what I'm going to do next is check the operation of the transmitter. As long as the transmitter is functional, I'll go through the alignment procedure and be done with it. Okay? Oh, one last question. So there's plenty of mods published for this radio, of course. Some to beef up the receiver. Well, I guess they're all to beef up the receiver. But, or at least I think so. Oh, and that one to put it on, change it from 15 to 20 meters. Oh, that'd be a hell of a mod. But my question to you guys, should I? Should I mod the heck out of it, or should I leave it completely stock? What say you? Talk to you later. Bye. I was curious if my vintage Heathkit frequency counter would read the frequency of the VFO. I connected the probe to the cathode. To the cathode. HW-16s are known for their hideous side tone level. You want to hear it? I connected a key to test the transmitter. Sadly, it does not work. The receiver came to life now, but when I key it, I only get a tiny bit of plate current. Oh, I know why. I'm a fucking idiot. It's not a transceiver. It's a transreceiver. I need a crystal. Or I need to plug my VFO into it. No wonder there's no output. Chuck, you're an idiot. Check the side tone out, man. Hang on a bit. It sounds like the signals you hear on a vintage radio night. Chuck, you're an idiot.
Tonight,
darkness falls across the land. The midnight hour is close at hand. Creatures crawl in search of blood. The terror